The Donghua begins by explaining the ancient mythological story about the three worlds. Told in ancient times, demons tried to destroy the human world, but their efforts failed when a hero appeared and was able to defeat the demons, then sealed them in a place called the Rift. The scene then switches and shows a careless young man named Lin Yifan, a Donghua writer. Even though Yifan is very talented at writing Donghuas, none of his works have received any appreciation. However, he did not give up and kept trying hard to write a good Donghua so that one day his work could be known by the wider community. At the same time, at Mingsan University, there was a tremendous energy explosion. From the source of the explosion, 3 colorful lights that were the embodiment of the Holy Spirit could be seen, which shot in different directions. A golden light shot toward Yifan's house, a green light fell into the trash can, and a blue light shot out of nowhere. Meanwhile, Yifan, who was in his room, was surprised to see a dimensional portal suddenly appearing in front of him. The golden light that arrived there then pushed his body into the dimensional portal. The portal takes him to the Rift, a world where demons and monsters are sealed. Surprisingly, Yifan's appearance changed drastically while on the Rift. He also realized that he was in another world and transformed into one of the characters in the Donghua he wrote. Instead of panicking, he looked happy because he thought he was the main character with tremendous power. However, in reality, Yifan didn't have any strength, so he could easily be defeated by a monster that suddenly appeared and attacked him. Yifan, who thought he would die in that place, was suddenly saved by a young man named Lu Hong, one of the greatest monster slayers who had eradicated many demons and monsters in the Rift. He then ran away while Lu Hong was fighting the monster, but during his escape, the golden light that pushed him into the dimensional portal suddenly appeared and transformed into a sword with the power of an infinite god. Because of its strength, the sword's existence provoked demons and monsters to attack the sword's owner, including the monster fighting against Lu Hong. The monster then chased Yifan, forcing him to climb a tree to avoid the monster's attack. When he fell from the tree, the sword accidentally hit the monster, so Yifan could defeat him. After that incident, Yifan returned to his world and realized that he was at a bus stop not far from his house. Suddenly, he is approached by a tiny golden creature named Jiri Jiri, who introduces himself as the Holy Spirit guarding the seal of 3 worlds. Hearing this, he became very happy because he thought he was the chosen one and the incident against the monsters last night was not a dream. While Yifan was excited to be the chosen one, a janitor who happened to be there thought he was insane for talking to a dog. After that, he brought Jiri Jiri to his house and served cat food to the cute familiar. Seeing this, Jiri Jiri became angry and humiliated because Yifan treated the Holy Spirit like a pet. He explained that he was the Holy Spirit who had given him the divine sword, Zhanlu, which Yifan used last night to defeat the monsters. He informs that Yifan has been chosen to carry out a mission to eradicate the monsters in the Rift. The Rift was a dimensional gap that would appear when the energies of the 3 worlds and other worlds were unbalanced or when the seal was weakened, as happened last night. Yifan then asked Jiri Jiri about the cause of the weakened seal and the unbalanced energy, but Jiri Jiri didn't answer his question and acted as if he was keeping something from Yifan. Not long after, Yifan got a call from his landlord, who asked for the rent for the apartment. Having no money to pay rent, he decides to go out and find a job so he can earn money as soon as possible. When he put his cell phone in his jacket pocket, an app was installed automatically on his phone. At the same time, Lu Hong, who last night saved Yifan while at the Rift, was seen sending a message in a chat group of the chosen ones assigned to eradicate the monsters in the Rift. In the human world, Lu Hong turned out to be a rich young man based on his appearance and luxurious vehicles. He looked annoyed that his prey monster was defeated by someone else. In the group chat, they asked about the Night Sword, who had defeated the monster, but he didn't know the person. Meanwhile, in another place, Yifan, who had just been chosen as the monster slayer, was surprised by the appearance of the familiars in the form of adorable little creatures. Because he is not used to seeing the familiars in the human world, he acts strangely, and people start to think that he is insane because ordinary people like them can't see these holy spirits. His strange behavior and caused commotion were then covered by a local television station, so Yifan was immediately summoned to attend the trial at the Rift. In the Divine Court, Yifan was accused of having committed many violations against the law of the Chosen One, one of which was causing a commotion in the human world and almost revealing the rift to the ordinary people in the human world. However, Yifan refuted this by saying that he knew nothing about the law of the Chosen One. The judges then told him about the 1000-Mile Voicer app, an application that will automatically be installed on the phone of the person destined to become the Chosen One. Soon after, he checked his cell phone and was very surprised when he found the application on his cell phone. Since Yifan did not know about the law of the Chosen One, the judges finally decided to impose a sentence that required him to pay a fine. The judges then checked the profile of Jiri Jiri, who was familiar with Yifan's pet. At first, they were very surprised when they read the profile of Jiri Jiri, who was said to be the Holy Spirit guarding the seal of 3 worlds. But after seeing Jiri Jiri's form, they also thought that Yifan was just making it up because the Holy Spirit that guards the seal is usually in the form of a scary beast. Jiri Jiri was angry because Yifan wrote his true identity on the profile sheet. But since the judges in the divine court didn't believe them, he chose not to mind it. While at the rift, Yifan went to the city center where the chosen ones usually gathered. Yifan, who was visiting the place for the first time, seemed to admire many things so much that he was called a villager. However, after discovering that Yifan was the Night Sword, they began approaching him. One of them challenged him to measure strength with the sacred jade hovering above them, and he accepted the challenge. But nothing special happened after he held the jade, which indicated that he was not as strong as people had rumored. However, when Yifan accidentally grabbed Zhang Lu, the energy from the sword suddenly appeared and immediately shot an attack toward the sacred jade and cracked it. After that, a black aura was seen that entered Zhang Lu and caused cracks to appear on the sword. That night, instead of exterminating the monsters in the rift, Yifan and Jiri headed to one of the historical sites at Mingsan University to find the magical sword. But after repeatedly exploring the place, he couldn't find the magical sword. He then explained to Jiri that they had found the magical sword in that place and brought it to the museum. But a month ago, the sword had been stolen by someone. Yifan thought he would find another magical sword, but his efforts were in vain. At the same time, a young man was seen trying to unite two sword pieces, and the sword turned out to be the magical sword that Yifan was looking for. After the sword pieces were successfully put together, a very powerful energy explosion created a dimensional crack connecting the rift and the human world where Yifan was currently. Suddenly, his appearance changed to the Night Sword. Yifan was then surprised by the appearance of a crab-like monster that suddenly turned into a giant after being exposed to a mysterious green light. He immediately fled to avoid the monster's attack. But after swinging his sword, he realized he had the strength to face the monster. Yifan felt superior and seemed so confident when he fought against the crab monster. But the crab monster seemed much tougher than the monster he had defeated before because he managed to knock him out, even breaking his sword in his next attack. When the crab monster was about to kill Yifan, suddenly, one of the strongest monster slayers in the rift, nicknamed the Bone Fairy, saved him and could easily defeat the crab monster with just one attack. After that, it was revealed why Jiri chose Yifan, even though he had very weak spiritual strength. Jiri apparently wanted to use him as a sacrifice to repair the Seal of Three Worlds, so he tried to do many ways to get Yifan killed. Even Jiri sabotaged Zhang Lu by channeling darkness energy so that Yifan had trouble using it. But Yifan seems to be a very lucky person because he is still alive today. After returning home, Yifan asked Jiri to repair his divine sword, but he refused because the divine sword is not something that can be easily repaired. Surprisingly, green energy light suddenly appeared in his residence and miraculously repaired Zhang Lu until it fused into its perfect form. Yifan looks amazed at that and is happy that his sword has been repaired, while Jiri seems suspicious of something because the divine sword usually cannot be repaired by ordinary magical powers. Jiri assumed that the person who repaired Yifan's sword must have divine power. Meanwhile, Lu Hong, who received a report about the fight near the historical site of Mingsan University, rushed to the place with his assistant, an old man named Meng. Lu Hong also found out about the magical sword that had been found in that place and then disappeared somewhere after being stolen a month ago. Knowing that the spiritual energy in the sword can create a dimensional crack that connects the rift and the human world, Lu Hong asks Meng to immediately find out where the magical sword is because if they don't deal with the matter quickly, the safety of humanity will be threatened by the demons and the monsters in the rift, whose ambition is to destroy the human world. The next day, Lu Hong decided to buy a house near where Yifan lived to make it easier to keep an eye on him. He then reads the text message in the Monster Slayers chat group and finds out that Yifan managed to defeat the crab monster with the help of the Bone Fairy. Soon after, Lu Hong and the other Monster Slayers were surprised because the Bone Fairy usually went on missions alone. They also thought that the Night Sword might be a subordinate of the Bone Fairy. But Lu Hong thought that Yifan didn't know the Bone Fairy and the Bone Fairy just happened to be there to save Yifan. Not long after, Lu Hong finally arrived at his new, grand, and luxurious apartment. Meng wondered why he was interested in Yifan when there were still many monster slayers far superior to Yifan. However, Lu Hong did not explain the matter in more detail the reason, but he felt that Yifan had the divine power hidden within him. Shortly afterward, Yifan visited Lu Hong's house and brought a potted plant as a gift to welcome his new neighbor. He then reveals to Yifan that he is the monster slayer who met Yifan when he first entered the rift. Lu Hong then gave a monster spirit pearl to him while explaining that the pearl came from a monster spirit that he had defeated some time ago. Meng informs that Yifan can sell the pearl at the rift for a very high price. Hearing this, he became very excited and took Lu Hong to the rift, as he intended to sell the pearl and share the proceeds with Lu Hong. Arriving at the city center, people looked surprised to see Lu Hong walking around the city with the Night Sword because he had been known to be a loner. Yifan then sold the pearl for 1,000 gold coins. But when Yifan was about to share his sales with Lu Hong, he refused, so Yifan only bought him something. When they were having lunch at a diner, suddenly, a tavern customer rose from his seat and scolded the diner's owner because the food they served was not good. The male customer did not hesitate to use violence, but the diner's owner chose not to fight the customer. When the male customer started to act arbitrarily, he helped the owner and kicked the customer out of the diner. The male owner thanked Yifan and served him and Lu Hong delicious dishes as an expression of gratitude. A few days later, they were in the human world and startled by dimensional cracks. They rushed into the rift and faced a 4-star monster much stronger than any monster Yifan had fought. They seemed overwhelmed by the monster's attack, so they decided to work together. However, they fought because Yifan underestimated Lu Hong too much and called him weak. Lu Hong, who was angry because he was called weak, then used his ultimate technique and finally defeated the monster. Upon seeing that, Yifan apologized to Lu Hong for underestimating him. Hearing that, Lu Hong forgave him, and they agreed to form a team. After that, Yifan was seen practicing his swordsmanship through the manual given by Lu Hong. He realized that Yifan had the divine sword but couldn't use it because he had never studied swordsmanship. On the other hand, Yifan and Lu Hong became the talk of the Chosen One's chat group because it was unusual for Lu Hong, nicknamed the Dragon Prince, to work with other people when carrying out his mission. Sometime later, Yifan, who wrote a donghua about Lu Hong, received appreciation from readers and publishers because the donghua was considered quite good. He was overjoyed when he found out that his donghua would be published soon, and he was asked to write more characters. Yifan then tried to write a character inspired by the Bone Fairy. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the Bone Fairy in the human world is a young actress named Qin Mo. Like Lu Hong, Qin Mo was very surprised to learn that the Bone Fairy was made into a character in Yifan's donghua. The next day, Yifan, working part-time as a courier, was assigned to deliver food. When he arrived at his destination, he saw Qin Mo, who was being bullied by a delinquent man. He rushed to help her and beat the man. However, Yifan didn't know that Qin Mo was shooting a film, so he was required to pay compensation for disrupting the filming process and damaging some of the film's property. On the other hand, Qin Mo, who was resting, checked her order and found that it was the food that Yifan had brought. Shortly afterward, a dimensional crack appeared in that place, so Yifan rushed into the rift and faced a 5-star monster who was tougher than before. Yifan, who tried to fight without any strategy, could easily be defeated by the monster. When he was about to be killed by the monster, the Bone Fairy suddenly appeared and saved him. Qin Mo, or the Bone Fairy, then got into a fierce battle with the monster, while Yifan was trapped by one of the monster's techniques that managed to lock his movement. In the meantime, a man is seen secretly filming the fight because he wants to reveal the real identity of the Bone Fairy. Not long after, Yifan finally broke free and tried to help the Bone Fairy fight the monsters. However, the divine sword suddenly emitted a green light that made him unable to control the sword and instead attacked the Bone Fairy. Qin Mo, annoyed with Yifan, then used one of her techniques to lock him so that he could focus on fighting the monster. However, when Qin Mo was about to defeat the monster with her ultimate technique, the monster suddenly disappeared, followed by the disappearance of the dimensional crack. After the dimensional crack disappeared, Yifan finally found out the Bone Fairy's true identity was none other than Qin Mo. Knowing this, he then asked her to join his team. But Qin Mo refused his request and rushed away from the place. The next day, Yifan goes to the agency office where Qin Mo works, tries to find her and asks her to join his team. But he was kicked out by the security officers and scolded by her manager for bothering her. Yifan, who didn't give up, insisted on waiting for her outside the building. Late afternoon, Yifan saw a woman who came out of the building parking lot on a motorcycle. He knew the woman was Qin Mo because he had seen the Bone Fairy on the motorbike. He then secretly followed her, who turned out to be heading to an orphanage. He was very impressed when he saw her interacting with the children in the orphanage. Yifan finally gets a chance to chat with Qin Mo alone, and he asks her why she is always alone and has no friends. Then, he invites Qin Mo to join his team, but she ignored the invitation. Even she called the mental hospital to come to bring Yifan because he was pushing his will on her too much and always bothering her. Elsewhere, Huang, the man who had previously secretly photographed the Bone Fairy's battle, had discovered Qin Mo's true identity as the Bone Fairy. He then reported this to a boy named Ken, who looked angry when he saw the photos of Qin Mo with Yifan. Ken was apparently the one who told Huang to spy on the Bone Fairy for an unknown reason. Meanwhile, Yifan is finally released from the mental hospital after clearing up a misunderstanding with Qin Mo. When Yifan was sitting on the side of the road thinking about the debt he had to pay off soon, he suddenly got a call from the publisher telling him that the donghua he had written would not be published because he was proven to have committed plagiarism. It didn't stop there. He got a call from his landlord, who told him that he had removed his belongings from his apartment because he had not paid the rent. Yifan was very surprised and begged his landlord not to throw him out. Before he could explain further, a dimensional crack suddenly occurred near him. At first, he intended to just leave and rush to his house, but Yifan finally decided to enter the rift and fight monsters. At the rift, he meets the diner owner, Tiger, battling a 5-star monster. Yifan looked surprised when he discovered that it was the same monster he had fought with Qin Mo. He thought Qin Mo had managed to defeat the monster because the monster suddenly disappeared. But it seemed that the monster could still survive after being attacked by Qin Mo, and now he had to fight the monster again. Due to the large difference in their strength, Yifan and Tiger seemed overwhelmed by the monster. On the other hand, Qin Mo and Lu Hong, who had just received a notification about Yifan's fight against a 5-star monster, rushed to the battle scene. However, upon arrival at the place, they were surprised by the monster that had launched a fatal attack on Tiger and seemed to be killing him. Yifan, who thought the monster had killed Tiger, put all his strength into fighting the monster until he finally managed to defeat the monster alone. Lu Hong and Qin Mo, who saw the incident, looked so amazed when they saw Yifan issue his true power to defeat the monster. After the monster was defeated, he realized that Tiger was still alive and rushed to his aid, while Lu Hong and Qin Mo decided to leave the place. After that, Yifan rushed back to the apartment to save his belongings before being thrown away by his landlord. However, how surprised he was when he found out that someone had paid off the rent arrears and paid the rent for his apartment for the next year so that he would not be kicked out of his apartment. In addition, Yifan received a call from the publisher who informed him that his donghua would be republished because the plagiarism case was just a misunderstanding and his donghua was proven to be an original work. He was very happy because the day ended well, especially after finding out he had managed to rank up after defeating a 5-star monster. Yifan then opened the Chosen One's chat group, where people talked about him. Some people openly mocked him and said that he was just lucky. Suddenly he felt very upset because he was belittled by them. However, Tiger, who joined the chat group, defended him by saying that Yifan was really a strong person, and those who ridiculed him said that because they had never seen him fight. Knowing that someone was defending him, Yifan was happy and sent Tiger a friend request. Tiger, who received the notification, happily accepted his friend request. Elsewhere, Lu Hong is seen having a discussion with his assistant, Meng, and it is revealed that Lu Hong is the one who has paid off the arrears of renting Yifan's apartment. Lu Hong paid the rent for the apartment for a year so that Yifan would not be kicked out of the place. Besides that, he had ordered Meng to investigate and resolve the plagiarism case experienced by Yifan until finally, his donghua was proven to be an original work. In the meantime, it was revealed that Ken was the one who spread rumors about his donghua, which was considered plagiarism. Ken turns out to be very annoyed with Yifan and intends to destroy his life. Because his plan failed, Ken sneaked into Yifan's apartment, put Yifan and Jiri to sleep with the sleeping gas, then exchanged his divine sword for a fake sword. The next day, Yifan received a package from Tiger that sent delicious cakes. Yifan sent a message to Tiger to thank him while praising his delicious cake. He then told Yifan that he would make the cake again if Yifan really liked his cakes. After that, Yifan entered the rift and visited Tiger's restaurant to enjoy the delicious cakes made by Tiger. While having lunch at Tiger's diner, a group of people came to the place and insulted Tiger. Yifan, who had considered Tiger his friend, defended him in front of the people. Seeing this, he became even more impressed with Yifan, who always stood up for him when bullied, and even appreciated his dishes since the beginning of their meeting when Yifan treated Lu Hong to lunch at his restaurant. Shortly afterward, it was revealed that Tiger's identity in the human world turned out to be a young girl named Maya, which explains that Tiger is always gentle and graceful like a woman. Over time, after their friendship in the rift became closer, Maya invited Yifan to meet in the human world. They then make an appointment to meet at the park. Arriving at the park, he accidentally bumps into her but doesn't know that Maya is a tiger. He then saw a burly man who was graceful and assumed that he was Tiger. But when Yifan was about to approach the man, Maya poked his shoulder from behind and revealed that she was Tiger. He was very surprised because he didn't think Tiger was a girl. Maya reveals that she is very shy, so she uses the character of Tiger while in the rift. Besides wanting to directly thank him, Maya wants to meet him because she wants to ask him to help find her familiar, Xiaolan, who suddenly disappeared. Like Yifan, Maya got familiar with an explosion at Mingsan University, where a blue light previously unknown to its destination was shot at her residence. After meeting him and seeing Jiri, Maya thought that Jiri might know the whereabouts of Xiaolan, who suddenly disappeared because they have almost the same form, even though Xiaolan is blue, while Jiri is golden. In the middle of the conversation, Yifan suddenly heard a clear wind howl as if it were near them. Maya then explained that the wind howl came from the Dayan Tower, located quite close to the park. Furthermore, she informed that according to legend, a 10,000-year-old demon was sealed in Dayan Tower, and the wind howl Yifan heard was probably the demon's voice. Not long after, the ground they were standing on suddenly shook violently, followed by a very strong gust of wind. All of that was apparently caused by Ken, who was in Dayan Tower to conduct an experiment to transfer the power of the divine sword to his green sword. Because the experiment failed, the divine sword and the green sword became uncontrollable. The energy radiating from the two swords caused a demon residing in that place to awaken and start attacking the people around the place. Realizing that his divine sword had disappeared somewhere, Yifan rushed to bring Maya to go to safety. But then, the demon attacked him by throwing his divine sword at him and hitting him on the head until Yifan fell down and fell unconscious. Upon seeing her first friend drop just like that, Maya became angry and mobilized her true power to fight the demon. Maya then transforms into Tiger and tries her best to fight the demon until finally, she manages to defeat the demon. After the demon was defeated, Xiaolan suddenly appeared from behind the bushes in a staggered state until she finally fainted. Seeing Yifan still unconscious, Maya rushed to take him to the hospital. In his sleep, he dreamed of his father, who left him when he was a child. Yifan tried to chase after his father, but when he was about to grab his hand, he finally woke up and almost fell out of the window if Maya didn't come on time to help him. After that incident, Yeki, the female doctor who treated Yifan, decided to tie him to the bed so that he wouldn't do anything dangerous if he had hallucinations. Yeki then told Yifan that he had suffered a severe brain injury from the heavy impact of the hilt of his sword. Yeki then asked if he was depressed or taking excessive sedatives to discover what caused him to have hallucinations. Yifan was suddenly surprised by her question because he had been feeling fine and had never taken any medicine. Yeki apparently asked because Maya found a box of tranquilizers in Yifan's room when she stopped by his apartment to take his clothes to the hospital. Furthermore, Maya told Yeki that she accidentally saw browser history about ending life on Yifan's computer and assumed that he was so depressed that he intended to end his life. However, Yifan denies all of this and insists that he has absolutely no knowledge of the drugs. Yeki, who was annoyed with him for continuing to argue, then wondered why a Donghua writer like him could be so depressed that he intended to end his life. Hearing this, Yifan asked how she knew he was a Donghua writer. She revealed that she is an avid reader and has always admired the Donghua he wrote. Yeki reveals that she's the chosen one and knows Yifan's identity as the Night Sword. She even finds out that Yifan is recruiting members to join his team and says she is interested in joining him. However, he didn't take her for granted because he had not seen her ability when he fought in the rift. Upon hearing Yifan underestimated her, Yeki felt annoyed and left his treatment room, followed by Maya, who wanted to pay for his medical expenses while hospitalized. Yeki then meets a doctor who tells her about a male patient named Lin, who is in his 20s, diagnosed with a terminal illness, and has less than a year to live. Maya, who overheard their conversation, thought the patient was Yifan because they had the same characteristics. His surname was Lin, and his age was around 20s. Maya didn't think that her first friend would die so soon and decided to keep it a secret from Yifan because she didn't want him to feel shocked and devastated when he found out he would die soon. After paying the medical expenses, Maya went to see Yifan, who wanted to explain his browser history about the suicide and the drugs she found in his room. However, Maya interrupted by asking what he wanted and had not achieved until now. Yifan mentioned a few things he wanted while Maya wrote the wish list in her notebook. After that, Maya invited the Bone Fairy to the party to celebrate Yifan's recovery while telling her that he had a terminal illness and that his life might not be long. Besides the Bone Fairy, Maya invited Lu Hong and Yeki and planned to have the party at Lu Hong's house. Long story short, Yifan was finally declared cured and allowed to go home. He was very happy because his friends gathered and held a party to celebrate his recovery. In fact, Qin Mo came to the party and said she was willing to join Yifan's team. On the other hand, Maya was very surprised to find out that the Bone Fairy was Qin Mo, a famous actress, while Lu Hong and Yeki looked normal, as if they already knew about her identity as the Bone Fairy. But Yeki doesn't even think that Maya is Tiger, the figure she had always thought of as a man. Yifan and his friends seemed to enjoy the party until Yeki finally fell asleep because she was too drunk. Not long after, Qin Mo decided to go home early, but Yifan tried to prevent her from leaving and asked her to stay a little longer. Qin Mo, annoyed that Yifan tends to force her, then said that she had to come to the party because someone told her that Yifan had a terminal illness and his life would not be long. Hearing that he was going to die soon, Yifan suddenly felt devastated and just left without saying anything. Lu Hong then asked Maya the truth about Yifan's deadly disease. Maya then revealed that she knew it from Yeki's conversation with a doctor. Qin Mo then woke her to confirm it. Meanwhile, Yifan, who was in his apartment, looked so sad when he discovered that his life would not last long. On the other hand, Jiri looks so happy when he finds out that Yifan will die soon because it means that his goal of coming to the human world will soon be achieved. Jiri even openly said that he had chosen Yifan as a sacrifice from the start and hoped that he would die soon. Upon hearing that, the innocent and kind Yifan thinks that Jiri is too drunk to say such careless things. Jiri even reveals that he has tried various ways to get Yifan killed while venting his frustration because there is always someone helping Yifan and thwarting his plans. Jiri humiliated Yifan by saying he was just a stupid young man who had been tricked so that he was killed, and Jiri could take his spirit to repair the broken seal of 3 worlds. Jiri then tells about Xiaolan, a holy spirit guardian of the seal, who has the power to repair the seal of 3 worlds. Even though he finally found out that Jiri had intended to kill him all this time, Yifan didn't chase him away and planned to avenge his actions by making his familiar suffer while at his house. After that, Yifan didn't let him sleep peacefully, even intentionally smearing him with dirt. The next day, Maya met Yifan in his apartment and explained the misunderstanding at the party. She tells him that she had mistakenly not confirmed his health condition to Yeki. A few days ago, Yeki informed her that the patient with a terminal illness was not Lin Yifan but someone else with the same characteristics. Knowing that he will not die soon, Yifan finally feels relieved and thanks Maya for explaining everything. Before leaving, Maya decides to leave Xiaolan with Yifan for the time being because she wants to focus on studying for the exam. He agrees to help her take care of Xiaolan. On the other hand, Jiri, annoyed that Yifan would not die soon, asked Xiaolan to repair the Seal of Three Worlds. But unexpectedly, Xiaolan said that she didn't know him and instead hit him. Xiaolan has amnesia, so she doesn't remember her true identity as a holy spirit or her mission in the human world. After that, Yifan forced Jiri to tell him about the Seal of Three Worlds and the mission that the holy spirits were on and threatened to expel Jiri if the familiar refused to reveal everything. Jiri then said that he and Xiaolan were the protectors of the infinite mysterious yellow spell, which was used to seal the Demon King, where the seal was then called the Seal of Three Worlds. Furthermore, Jiri explained that they made a key from the infinite yellow spell to prevent someone from breaking the seal. The key was in the shape of a golden lotus, which they then shattered to scatter the shards, making it difficult for anyone intending to put the pieces together and resurrect the Demon King. Jiri said that 500 years ago, some people from a mysterious organization called Bai Yuling managed to piece together all the pieces of the golden lotus-shaped key and intended to resurrect the Demon King. Several members of the Divine Court managed to stop the people from the organization, although many of them were killed. Jiri and Xiaolan managed to survive, although Xiaolan suffers from amnesia from the hard impact of the battle. After that, they were assigned to protect the Seal of Three Worlds and find a way to repair the seal at the cost of human life. Meanwhile, Lu Hong seems irritated that workers from his construction company are suddenly excavating a historical site at Mingsan University without his permission. One of the workers then told him that his grandfather had ordered the excavation. Then, Lu Hong called his grandfather, Lu Bufan, to confirm this, and he confirmed it. Lu Bufan explained to his grandson that they had no other choice because the historical site at Mingsan University was the lost ancient Jianan city. Jianan was the location where the people from Bai Yuling's organization intended to resurrect the Demon King 500 years ago. Lu Bufan tried to prevent this from happening again, so he ordered excavations at the historic site. At the same time, Yifan, who was asking Jiri about the mysterious explosion at Mingsan University, was surprised by his divine sword, which suddenly emitted a green energy light and began to lose control. Surprisingly, the divine sword suddenly attacked Xiaolan, so Yifan tried to stop it. But Xiaolan instead attacks him until he faints. Seeing Yifan, who was unconscious, Jiri then intended to kill him. But then, Jiri remembered his moments with Yifan, who treated him well and lovingly. Instead of killing Yifan, Jiri healed him and was very surprised to learn that his Jade of Life was sealed. This indicates that the power Yifan has shown so far is only a small part of the great power still sealed within him. After Yifan woke up, Jiri told him about his Jade of Life, which was still sealed. Yifan instead asked Jiri to open the seal because after breaking the seal, he imagined that he would become the strongest monster slayer and be respected by everyone in the rift. But Jiri then tells Yifan that he can't break the seal because the seal of the Jade of Life can only be broken if he continues to train himself by engaging in various battles that can improve his abilities. Realizing that Jiri had lied to him, Yifan didn't necessarily believe his familiar and assumed that Jiri was tricking him because he wanted Yifan to be killed in the fight. But Jiri denies it and insists that if he intended to get Yifan killed, then from the start, he would have killed him when he fainted last night. Meanwhile, Lu Bufan seemed to be worried about the rise of Bai Yuling's organization as they intended to resurrect the Demon King as they had done 500 years ago. If the Demon King is successfully resurrected, then it is certain that the existence of mankind on this earth will soon be extinct. A few days later, the thing that Lu Bufan had feared finally happened when 4 members of the Bai Yuling organization managed to summon a demon through a ritual that caused strong winds accompanied by a storm that hit Mingsan City. When Mingsan City was hit by extreme weather, Yifan was seen relaxing in his room while watching a television program featuring the male author Lin Wang, who praised his donghua, which had been published and received appreciation from many people. Yifan was happy that a famous writer like Lin Wang praised his donghua and talked about it on a television program that was watched by many people. After that, he got a call from Luo from Wang Yi Entertainment, who was interested in adapting his donghua into a live-action film. Afterward, Luo asked Yifan to meet at the Wang Yi Entertainment building to discuss copyright and the contract he had to sign before his donghua was made into a film. Soon after, Yifan rushed to the place, ignoring the extreme weather in Mingsan City. On the way, he found a man lying unconscious on the side of the road. He rushed to check on the man's condition, intending to call an ambulance so that the man could get medical help. However, just about to seek help, he was surprised by several people who suddenly fainted for no apparent reason. What surprised him the most was when they suddenly got back up and, in an unconscious state, attacked him simultaneously. Since they were city dwellers with no power, even Yifan couldn't use his power to stop them and only tried to dodge their attacks. In his despair, Yifan is finally saved by one of the members of the Divine Court, a masked woman named Xiao, who then paralyzes the residents with her power that can control plant roots. After that, she reported the incident to Lu Bufan and explained that the bad weather in Mingsan had caused the townspeople to go into an unconscious state and caused them to behave like zombies. She assumes that the unconscious state experienced by the residents is related to the appearance of a demon who was summoned by members of the Bai Yuling organization. Lu Bufan, the leader of the Divine Court, then orders Xiao to tell the Chosen Ones about the incident through the 1000 Miles Voicer app and asks them to investigate the causes of extreme weather and the unconscious state experienced by the townspeople. While Lu Hong, Qin Mo, and the Chosen Ones were busy rescuing residents who did not experience the unconscious state, Yifan instead talked about the contract and copyright of his Donghua with Luo in the Wangyi Entertainment Building. After signing a lucrative contract, Yifan intends to return home before he gets caught in the storm. However, he instead met Qin Mo, who looked surprised because he had just left the Wangyi Entertainment Building, which is her agency company. He was about to tell Qin Mo the reason, but suddenly they got a notification about the presence of a monster somewhere, so they rushed to that place. Once there, Yifan and Qin Mo found neither monsters nor any sign of a dimensional crack about to occur. Instead, they faced residents in an unconscious state, which attacked them both. Qin Mo then transforms into the Bone Fairy to paralyze the people, while Yifan looks troubled and almost gets killed by the residents, who are more violent than before. Seeing this, Qin Mo rushed to save Yifan and asked him to transform into the Night Sword, but he has not been able to transform into the Night Sword in the human world. Not long after, he was suddenly attacked by the Mach Wind, a demon summoned by Bai Yuling's members to wreak havoc on Mingsan. Luckily, Lu Hong arrived at the place in time and saved Yifan. Lu Hong and Qin Mo discovered that the Mach Wind was no ordinary demon, as only the strongest demons could enter the human world by breaking through the rift without causing dimensional cracks. Lu Hong then asked Yifan to transform into the Night Sword using the power of his divine sword. Sure enough, he finally transformed into the Night Sword in the human world and decided to team up with Lu Hong and Qin Mo to fight the Mach Wind. However, even though the three of them had combined their strength and put their all into fighting the Mach Wind, their attacks had no effect on the Mach Wind at all. They then realized that the Mach Wind uses its power to control the population and make them attack the Chosen Ones or residents who do not have an unconscious state. Since they were in a hurry, Lu Hong tried to contact the Divine Court, but his cell phone had no signal there, so Yifan then asked Lu Hong to go and report the whereabouts of the Mach Wind to the Divine Court while he and Qin Mo would fight the Mach Wind. After Lu Hong left that place, Qin Mo took out one of her ultimate techniques to lock the movement of the Mach Wind and detonated it. But the attack failed again, and the Mach Wind launched a fatal attack at her. Luckily, Yifan rushed to save her and received the attack, leaving him seriously injured. Just as the Mach Wind was about to launch its next attack, Lu Hong suddenly appeared and parried the attack before injuring his friends. He explained that he didn't make it out of place, as if someone had purposely locked them there and forced them to fight the Mach Wind without help from anyone. While Yifan was recuperating, Lu Hong and Qin Mo fought to the death against the Mach Wind. Seeing his friends who had been knocked down by the demon, Yifan finally got up and managed to crack the Jade of Life seal within him and give him a little strength. With his new power, Yifan again launched a barrage of attacks toward the Mach Wind and managed to find out his weakness. Seeing the unyielding Yifan, Lu Hong and Qin Mo decided to get up and work with him to defeat the Mach Wind. However, because the demon's defense was quite formidable, they became overwhelmed and almost exhausted, which caused them to be caught off guard and receive an unexpected attack from the Mach Wind. Surprisingly, a young girl arrived at the place and created a magical barrier to protect the three of them from the attack while converting the power of the attack into energy that could increase the strength of Yifan and his friends. She approached them and scolded them for acting rashly. Yifan apparently recognized her voice and was surprised to learn that she was Ye Qi. With her help, they combined forces and finally managed to defeat the Mach Wind. Unfortunately, after the fight, Yifan collapsed unconscious due to exhaustion. While being treated at the hospital, Yifan again dreamed of his father walking away from him. He finally woke up and got into a small fight with Jiri Jiri when he played a prank on Jiri Jiri, who seemed worried about him. Not long after, Qin Mo and Lu Hong came to the hospital to see Yifan, where they then contacted Maya via video call, as she was out of town for an archaeology exam. Elsewhere, Xiao tells Lu Bufan that all the residents who experienced the unconscious state have returned to their senses and are in good health. Besides that, she reported about Bai Yuling's members who started making moves openly since they summoned Mach Wind. During their conversation, a man named Jun, a member of the Divine Court, appears. Jun informs Lu Bufan of the existence of a Bai Yuling spy in the Chosen One's community. After that, he accuses Yifan of being the spy because after he became the Chosen One, high-level monsters and demons kept appearing, which meant that Bai Yuling had started their plan to resurrect the Demon King. Jun then warns Lu Bufan and Xiao that Yifan's father, Wang Zhan, is Bai Yuling's spy who infiltrated the Divine Court. After that, Jun met Yifan at the hospital and dragged him to court at the Rift to prove to everyone that Yifan was a spy for Bai Yuling, just like his father. June then locks Yifan up and interrogates him about his father's whereabouts and involvement with Bai Yuling's organization. But Yifan couldn't answer his question because he had no idea that his father was the Chosen One and was a spy for Bai Yuling, who had betrayed the Divine Court. At the same time, Lu Hong went to his grandfather to ask the truth about Yifan, and he confirmed that Yifan was the son of Wang Zhan, the former member of the Divine Court who was considered a spy for the Bai Yuling organization. Lu Bufan then recounted an incident 20 years ago when the Divine Court received news of the existence of a fragment of a golden lotus key in a snowy mountain in the Beijilu region of the human world. Since the golden lotus key fragment was an important part of resurrecting the Demon King, they couldn't just let it go and sent a team led by a man named Bei Yao and Yifan's father to join the team. However, upon entering the snowy mountain region, the plane they were traveling in was suddenly hit by a burst of energy from the fragments of the golden lotus key and crashed there. Bei Yao and the Chosen Ones were reportedly killed in the incident, while Yifan's father disappeared without a trace with the fragments of the golden lotus key. Since Wang Zhan was the only person whose whereabouts were unknown, the Divine Court accused Wang Zhan of spying for Bai Yuling and named him a traitor. On the other hand, June tells Yifan about the incident and shows Bei Yao's last message confirming that Wang Zhan is the traitor who killed him and took the fragment of the golden lotus key. Because Yifan insisted that he didn't know his father's whereabouts nor was he involved with Bai Yuling's organization, June continued to torture Yifan in his magical cage. Elsewhere, Lu Hong tries to convince his grandfather that Yifan is not involved with Bai Yuling's organization and that the Divine Court should not blame Yifan just because he is the son of a traitor. However, Lu Bufan told his grandson not to interfere, even telling Lu Hong to stay away from Yifan to not damage their family's reputation. Meanwhile, Qin Mo, Jiri, and Xiao Lan are seen infiltrating the Divine Court to free Yifan. Soon after, Qin Mo manages to knock out the guards and find the room where June locked and tortured Yifan to get information about his father. Qin Mo attacked June and tried to save him. While Qin Mo and Xiao Lan were fighting, Jiri rushed to free Yifan from the cage. Realizing she cannot fight June, Qin Mo uses her technique to lock his movements. But the technique used by Qin Mo wasn't strong enough to hold June back, so they became desperate when he launched an attack on them. But then, Xiao suddenly appeared and helped them. She tells June to release Yifan because they haven't found evidence of Yifan's involvement with Bai Yuling's organization. He seems to ignore her words and says he will fight anyone who defends Yifan, whom he already considers a traitor. June doesn't hesitate to attack Xiao and accidentally destroys her mask, revealing her true self, which is none other than Ye Qi. Yifan and Qin Mo were very surprised to learn that Ye Qi was a member of the Divine Court. June then tries to provoke Yifan by saying that Ye Qi only pretended to be interested in Yifan and befriended him because she was investigating his involvement with Bai Yuling's organization. But Ye Qi denied all the accusations and asked Qin Mo to take Yifan away from that place. Yifan and Qin Mo finally managed to get out of the Divine Court, but they were surrounded by the Chosen Ones, who knew about his accusation of being a spy for the Bai Yuling organization. They then blamed Yifan for the attacks by high-level monsters and demons that had sprung up recently and did not hesitate to insult him with hate speech. After returning to the human world, Yifan seemed to be sitting alone, thinking about all the problems he had experienced. Jiri tried to comfort him, who was moody, but he didn't care. Not long after, the Chosen Ones received a notification via the 1000 Miles Voicer app regarding their status as spies to be determined within 3 days and asked them not to spread false news about Yifan until there was an official notification from the Divine Court. Meanwhile, Lu Hong decides to help Yifan because he considers Yifan his best friend, and Ye Qi tries to prove that Yifan is not involved with Bai Yuling's organization. On the other hand, Qin Mo, who seemed to be still thinking about something, turned to look at the bouquet of flowers that Yifan had given her, which had been lying on her desk. Upon seeing that, she remembered all about Yifan and felt sure he was not a spy like he was accused of. The next day, Jiri looked panicky when he discovered that Yifan had disappeared somewhere. Jiri rushed to meet Lu Hong and handed over a letter from Yifan before his departure. Yifan asked Jiri and Xiao Lan to protect themselves until Maya returned to Mingsan City. Knowing that Yifan had disappeared, Lu Hong rushed to find him with the help of Meng and Ye Qi. While Lu Hong and the others were doing their search, Qin Mo entered the rift and asked the Chosen Ones not to spread fake news about Yifan. Qin Mo is even willing to reveal her true self as a famous actress to convince them that Yifan is not a spy because, all this time, he has always risked his life while fighting against monsters and demons to protect humanity. At the same time, Yifan was at the historical site of Mingsan University and was fighting against one of the members of Bai Yuling's organization. At the same place, a member of the Divine Court was seen lying helpless after being defeated by people from Bai Yuling's organization. Yifan comes to the place to pick up a gold box containing treasure but is suddenly attacked by members of Bai Yuling until finally, he comes to help him. In the middle of the fight, the box suddenly fell into a nearby river and he rushed to pick it up, while the people from Bai Yuling's organization decided to run away from the place after realizing Lu Hong's arrival. Lu Hong, who arrived at the place with Jiri, found the existence of a member of the Divine Court who had fainted and finally met Yifan, who managed to get the gold box. After Yifan touched the symbol on the gold box, a holographic image suddenly appeared, showing the snowy mountains. Yifan suddenly remembered something, handed the gold box to Lu Hong, and hurriedly left the place. Lu Hong hurriedly handed the box to his grandfather, and it was revealed that the contents of the gold box were a map showing the location of the treasure, which turned out to be in the snowy mountains of the Beijilu region, which was the site of a plane crash that occurred 20 years ago. He orders Ye Qi to investigate the treasure's location and asks Lu Hong to help Yifan. Ye Qi then shared her opinion about Yifan not being a spy because he is a stupid and careless young man. However, if Yifan was proven to be a spy or a traitor, she would not hesitate to kill him. Furthermore, she reported the immense spiritual power which appeared when they fought against the Mach Wind. She assumed that the power came from a ritual performed by members of the Bai Yuling organization who wanted to summon a monster or demon whose power was far more terrifying than the Mach Wind. Long story short, Yifan finally arrived at the snowy mountains of the Beijilu region and realized that he had been there 20 years ago. When he was walking along a slippery and steep snowy mountain road, he suddenly slipped and fell into a ravine. Together, Lu Hong, who had just arrived at the place, saved Yifan from falling to the bottom of the abyss. Yifan was very surprised to know that not only Lu Hong had come there to help him, but Qin Mo, Maya, and Ye Qi had also decided to help him. Maya informed them that the location of the snowy mountains of Beijilu is quite close to her exam, so she could follow Yifan to that place. Yifan feels happy because he has friends who are very considerate of him. Lu Hong and the others looked surprised because Yifan felt cold, like ordinary people. Jiri then explained that his spiritual power was still sealed in the Jade of Life, so he couldn't fully use it. Hearing this, Lu Hong and the others suddenly felt surprised because the great power Yifan had shown so far was not his full power, proving that he had much greater strength. While exploring the place, looking for clues, they suddenly found a monster skeleton and a monster spirit pearl that had been left behind. Not long after, they were surprised by a sudden avalanche that occurred in that place and found the wreckage of a plane that crashed 20 years ago. When he saw the plane's wreckage, Yifan remembered the past, when he was one of the passengers on the plane. However, when Yifan and his friends were about to investigate the wreck, suddenly, a group of people who were members of Bai Yuling's organization appeared. Ye Qi then asked about the true purpose of Bai Yuling's organization, and the leader then informed that the Bai Yuling organization intends to resurrect the Demon King and cooperate with demons to create a new world that will only be inhabited by demons and humans who has the great spiritual power. But to achieve this goal, they need Yifan, who is the key to resurrecting the Demon King. The leader then orders his subordinates to capture Yifan and kill his companions. A fierce battle ensued between them, and it was later revealed that the group leader was Luo, Qin Mo's manager and the CEO of Wang Yi Entertainment. Luo and his henchmen are no match for Yifan and his companions, so they can be defeated easily. Not giving up easily, Luo summoned a demon general named Jiu, Mach Wind's master. Qin Mo and the others realized that Jiu had much greater strength than Mach Wind and asked her friends to be careful when dealing with him. As Qin Mo had warned, Jiu not only possessed formidable strength but possessed an intelligent mind, so he could launch attacks effectively at Yifan and his companions without much effort. Jiu even injures them all quite badly and makes it difficult for them to put up a fight, as if he wants to show Yifan and his companions the difference in their strength that is far behind him. He even fatally attacked Ye Qi and was about to kill Qin Mo, until finally, Luo tried to stop him because he didn't want Jiu to take his anger out on them and forget about their more important mission. Jiu and Mr. Luo then tried to take the Golden Lotus Key fragment, which turned out to be inside Yifan's body, by performing a ritual that made him look very in pain. In the process, Yifan recalled the plane crash incident 20 years ago, where he managed to survive, then tried to find the whereabouts of his father, who was the pilot of the plane. He then saw the fight between the members of the Divine Court who were trying to protect the Golden Lotus Key fragment from the people from Bai Yuling's organization who wanted to snatch it. But then, fragments of the Golden Lotus Key were suddenly thrown and, surprisingly, absorbed into his body and knocked him unconscious. After that incident, Yifan did not know his father's whereabouts until now. Seeing Yifan in pain during the ritual, Lu Hong and the others couldn't do anything to help him at all because they were exhausted and blocked by people from Bai Yuling's organization. Not long after, the Golden Lotus Key fragments were finally expelled from Yifan's body, along with the Jade of Life seal being shattered. Then, Jiu took the Golden Lotus Key fragment and told Mr. Luo that the key was so important that he would not hand it over to the Bai Yuling organization. Hearing that, Luo became annoyed that Jiu seemed to underestimate them. When they fight over the Golden Lotus Key fragment, suddenly, Yifan wakes up and manages to awaken his true power, which has been sealed due to the presence of the key fragment in his body. He then asked Jiri to help Lu Hong and the others while he fought Jiu. After successfully freeing themselves, Lu Hong and the others fought against the members of Bai Yuling's organization so they could not interrupt Yifan's fight against Jiu. Even though he had put all his strength into fighting Jiu, Yifan still seemed overwhelmed by his barrage of attacks. On the other hand, Lu Hong and the others managed to defeat the members of Bai Yuling's organization and tried to help Yifan. When Yifan is finally cornered, Ye Qi tries to save him and delivers her power to him so that he can match the demon general. At the same time, Qin Mo and the others then work together to help Yifan face Jiu until finally, he managed to defeat the demon general. After retrieving the Golden Lotus key fragments, Yifan and his friends rush back to the rift carrying Luo and his henchmen to stand trial for their crimes. Arriving at the rift, Yifan and his friends were greeted by Lu Bufan, who then announced they were heroes who had defeated the demon general and saved the world. Lu Bufan then explained to the chosen ones that Yifan was a hero, not a spy, as he had been accused of. 2 weeks later, Yifan and his friends, who had recovered after being seriously injured in a fierce battle against the demon general, decided to gather at a historical site at Mingsan University. Yifan arrived first, then met with Qin Mo and asked about the next steps she would take after Luo was captured by the Divine Court. Qin Mo tells Yifan that she will continue her work as an actress and find a new manager. She asked about what Yifan did next after he and his father were acquitted of being spies for the Bai Yuling organization. He said he would still look for his father's whereabouts and try to find clues from Luo. Not long after, Maya came up to them and said she and Lu Hong found something at a dig site not far from there. Arriving at the ancient Jianan City excavation site, they found a human skeleton and a monster spirit pearl. Qin Mo, who was curious, then tried to touch the skeleton. At the same time, a dimensional portal suddenly appeared in front of them, and the energy within it pulled her body into it. Qin Mo, who realizes that she is in another dimension, is suddenly surprised by the appearance of a mysterious young woman who seems to know her very well and has been waiting for her arrival. The scene then switches and shows Luo, who is in prison. Not long after, the young woman approached him and said she would release him because they would soon carry out their next plan. The first season of Donghua Space-Time Rift has ended. The moral that can be learned from this Donghua is never to underestimate someone, even though his physical appearance and family background are very contrary to the perception we believe.